start taking ownership and grow in their careers.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Career Success Guide CSG. My name is Jaya, I'm a career coach. Today I am glad to introduce Richa Bansal to you. Richa Bansal is the founder and CEO of Pinkcareers that partners with individuals and organizations to provide high impact coaching, leadership programs, and career training to women so that they can take their careers to next level. Let's get to know Richa a little bit more. Richa, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jaya. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I must say I was really impressed looking at your LinkedIn profile. You went to IIT, then you pursued your further education in Purdue University in Indiana. Then you have had a long and successful career with Slumberjee. So what was that career progression like?
Oh, I have had a very interesting career, I would say. So as you said, yeah, I graduated with a mechanical engineering degree from IIT Delhi. And, funny thing is that I was the only woman in the room, only woman in the class of 65 plus in the first year until another girl joined us from another department. But anyways, that's a story, I think, for another question. But yeah, after IIT, I came to US to do my master's. And then after I did my master's, I joined Schlumberger as an intern. And I guess they liked me, so they offered me a full-time position in their technology center. And I was really fascinated by the 24/7 lifestyle that they offered. So I said, hey, I want to be a field engineer. So then they sent me as a field engineer. And I worked on offshore oil rigs in Malaysia for 2 years. And after that, I moved to Houston, where I did a variety of roles in engineering, supply chain. I did a small stint in manufacturing. And then my last role with Schlumberger, I was an engineering manager for their completions product line. It was really, really fascinating role because I was managing a very diverse team. My team was based in India. Some of them were based in, one of the persons was in Mexico. We had manufacturing going on in China. And then obviously we had a team in India. So it was a fairly diverse team. We were running a lot of projects, a lot of firefighting I was handling as well, all in manufacturing as well as on our offshore oil rigs. So it was a great experience at Schlumberger.
That's awesome. It's pretty much fascinating journey. You have held various roles in this, 6-7 years, right? And how did you get this idea of starting Pinkcareers? And what's that about?
So as I was saying, right, when I was in undergrad, I was the only woman in a class of 68 plus in the mechanical engineering department. So my passion with promoting women in leadership kind of runs back to then. From then, as you can imagine, on offshore oil rigs, there aren't too many women to be found. Energy in general, they have gender ratio is quite skewed in energy as compared to some of the other industries that we are familiar with. I think tech is kind of following suit. But in energy, when I was in all of these different roles, I was always looking for role models on how all of these women, these select small few number of women that are on the top, how are they doing it? What helped them succeed in their careers? How were they able to move into roles that allowed them to manage P&L or that allowed them to make further connections that help them grow in their careers? I was kind of always looking for those role models and not necessarily finding a whole lot. Right? So I felt like there's a huge need that needs to be fulfilled where you need to connect our early career women and really show them what's possible for them by connecting them with real role models. And also I think about coaching that, at mid-career level, at senior levels, you've heard of so many people, women also included, they get coaching. But at early career, you never hear of anybody getting coaching or leadership training. Whereas I felt like there was a huge need to bring all of that coaching and leadership training much down in our careers, where we are really in the beginnings of learning about how we should be presenting ourselves as a leader, how should we be leading teams effectively, and how should we be growing our network and sponsors. And so with that thought, I started Pinkcareers back in 2019. Pinkcareers really started as a blog in July 2019. So it's actually 2 years anniversary, probably rolling around very soon. But thank you. But the idea of Pinkcareers at the time was I had just started my journey as a leader, as a people manager, and I wanted to share with other women what I am learning in my career, what I am learning in my leadership journey, and that's it. Like that was the intent of Pinkcareers at the time. So I was running a blog, like weekly. I would publish, articles and my thoughts on how women should present themselves, and not just at work, but then also how they should look for new opportunities. So I was also talking about job search and how they can really get the roles and the jobs that they're quite fascinated about and they want to work in. From there on, Pinkcareers has grown into, kind of what it is now. In the past 6 months, especially, we've started to work more and more with businesses all over North America. We've worked with some of the brands such as Schlumberger, Halliburton. We have a workshop, some programming coming up with SAP, with Hess. So many companies in the oil and gas space, but also in technology space, to bring in to discuss topics such as imposter syndrome, like how do you communicate assertively, how do you negotiate, and especially as a woman, why is negotiations a little bit different for you than it may be for your male counterparts? And the most important topic, how do you manage your manager? Like how do you help your manager help you grow in the career, right? So like some of those topics are very close to my heart, and that's kind of what we do as Pinkcareers. We do workshops and leadership coaching for early career women.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's really changing someone's life. You kind of talked about how you were the only student in your class. Even in other fields in STEM or business or management, you look at all these industries and you feel that women are underrepresented, especially into mid-senior level, C-suite. You look at, top management, you're like, oh, there'll be like only one woman or, very few, right? So what are the challenges you think that women face in today's world, and also what we can do to make it better for us?
So McKinsey and leanin.org, they had published a study back in 2019 called Women in the Workplace, where they talked about this concept of broken rung. In popular media, we cannot hear a lot about the glass ceiling, that, glass ceiling is preventing women from reaching the C-suite, executive suite. But McKinsey and leanin.org talks about broken rung, which is the difficulties women face in going from individual contributors to first-time managers, right? And so, in fact, the study says that for every 100 men that are promoted to managers, only 72 women are hired and promoted into management. And the figures for women of color, for Latino women, for Black women, it's even worse. Like it's even lower, in the high 50s and low 60s, right? So which means that even though we are hiring the same number of men and women into entry-level roles, this disparity in women promoting into management starts as low as early, in their first-time leadership role, right? So if you have a disparity in the beginning, like that just widens the gap as we grow in our career, because all of these things around us having families, and then difference of how women are perceived to be growing in their careers and childcare duties, women taking greater share of childcare duties, and all of that also play a role. So I kind of look at the challenges that we face in growing in our careers kind of twofold. One are some of the responsibility lies on us as women, on why this broken rung exists and why we have a gap in the C-suite in terms of gender gap. And then part of the responsibility lies on our organization. So let me talk a little bit about, why the responsibility lies on us, right? In some ways, I think the responsibility lies on us when we don't ask for what we want, right? If you don't ask, I'm a big proponent of, you have to ask for what you want. You have to speak up, because ultimately, bottom line is that it is your career. Mm-hmm. And if you are not in the driver's seat of your career, then somebody else will be, your manager will be driving your career. Your HR will be driving your career. You cannot let anybody else be in the driver's seat of your career. So if you want that promotion, or if you want to gain some skills and you want a lateral move, or if you want a salary raise, right? Or if you want more resources and more budgets for your team because you're struggling and you don't have that competency in your team, you got to step up and ask, right? I think that's one thing that women struggle with. We feel that if we ask, then we'll be appearing as weak. Sometimes culture plays a role as well. Like I've definitely worked with women, and I would say myself included. I've learned the lesson the hard way, where I saw one of my colleagues grow in his career, move to like a management role because he just networked his way around. He asked for that promotion and he moved on. Whereas I had just mentioned to my boss that, hey, I will be ready for a promotion. I'm looking for something new. And then I was just sitting on my, on my bum. So I hadn't really pushed for it. I hadn't really asked for it again and again. So I think that is one big way that we kind of come in our own way, which prevents us from growing in our careers. And then second, I would say is that, we sometimes just lean out thinking that now that, for example, like, when a lot of my friends, when they had kids, they just decided to take a step back, right? And maybe that's okay for them. And if it's okay for your family, and it, maybe it's the season of your life where it's okay for your family for you to lean out, that's fine. But then also think about, is it possible for you to get help that allows you to grow in your career if that is something that you want to do? So, leaning out or leaning in, I see that very closely tied with getting help. Like you can do whatever you want in your life, in your career, but sometimes we need help. So how can you get help? Like think about, can you get help to free up some of your time so that you can devote it to the things that are really priority in your life, which is definitely your family, right? And then perhaps your career. So then what do you need to let go? Like, where can you get help? When I was doing my MBA, I was also working full time and I had my first kid at the time. Those three were my priorities and they were like big priorities, right? So I had to outsource some stuff. So I had outsourced cooking, cleaning, lawn mowing. I got my parents and my in-laws from India to help me out for a year. Like, 3 months they rotated to come help out. All of those are help. I would ask my husband to sometimes like look after my kids and just like give me an hour so I could go and sit by myself and have coffee. That is also part of the help, So, two things I would say, how women can really start taking ownership and grow in their careers. And I know I'm talking here a lot, but I get really passionate about this subject. And then organizations, right? I think organizations also have a huge role in ensuring that we are closing the gender gap in the C-suite. And organizations who really, and then I want to say like organizations who really care about this, who really care about the gender parity in the C-suite, they do things not just because they have to check the box, they do things because they really do deeply care and they understand the business case behind it, right? The financial merits, the growth in the financial merits, the betterment of the team and the leadership team and how you manage employees, all of that comes with having greater women on the leadership team. The companies that really understand that, they invest in their women early in their career so that they are not only growing their high potentials, but they are also essentially working on growing their pool of high potential. Like you have to make a bigger pool. From there you can draw on. You can't just draw on the smaller pool, right? So invest in your early career women. And then also the second thing I would say is equalize the playing field. Like set the same ground rules. So at a smaller team level, at a frontline manager level, you can set the same ground rules for your team. An example of that would be make it okay for the men in your team to leave early if they need to pick up the kids or if they need to take care of a sick child. Don't penalize them for leaving early, right? When men see that it's okay for everybody to leave early to take care of a child or maybe a sick parent or whatever that may be, then it also helps women feel okay about, taking care of the child or taking care of, their personal affairs or whatever that may be. So like setting same ground rules for men and women goes a long way.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely interesting topic to discuss. I had a chat with somebody that is working in energy sector, and his wife was expecting a baby, and he applied for a week's leave for the delivery, and his immediate boss told him that, oh, it's the lamest thing just because your wife is delivering a baby. And I'm like, okay, is it really happening? This is 2021, but that's the kind of thought process.
Oh my God.
We still have it was kind of shocking to me. There's a lot to change.
Responsibility, right? I mean, my husband is so involved in the growing of my kids. Actually, he's probably more involved than I am. That's why I'm able to do whatever I do. But you have to really absolutely make it okay for the men to participate in the household chores or like managing their life as much as women are involved, right? That also like that starts with setting equal ground rules, that start with setting policies at the company level where it's, moms get the same, get a pool of leave and split it.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Okay, so I would also want to know more about the fortnightly career web series or webinars that you conduct. I've attended one and I found it really interesting and useful. So how well is it taken by the audience?
So I started those webinar series. We've done 20 of those webinars now, 20 episodes, and we've been doing this every other Thursday. So I'm amazed the journey that I have kind of taken doing these webinars. I really started this for a very selfish reason. I wanted to get better with speaking on the mic about doing this. And I said, okay, what can I do to get better? Is I can start a live webinar show. Okay. And so that's kind of where it started from. And really the intent was to, as I mentioned, at Pinkcareers, we wanted to bring really straightforward advice, really practical how to advise to the early career women that are in our community. And our webinars are actually attended by not just women. I regularly get asked by young professionals, guys, everyone as to how we can attend. Can we attend? I'm like, of course you can. So I get things about it all the time. And so the intent of the webinar is to call on experts, because we are not experts at, everything. I don't know about everything, but there are people who do, right? So the intent of the webinars is to call these experts and talk about all of these different subjects and all of these different challenges that we face day to day in our careers, all the way ranging from how do I, go about my job search and do interviews, like, now in a hybrid world, about how do I write resumes and cover letters, to how do I navigate office politics, what do I do when I'm a newcomer to a company, is it okay to tell my boss? When is it okay to tell my boss that I'm pregnant? And how do I come back? To how to ask for promotion and raise? Like all of these topics that we are always seeking the how-tos. That's what we do on the webinar. So it's been taken very well with our audience. Like they're always looking forward to it. We've had fairly consistent attendance to it. And then because our webinars are available on demand, several times I see notifications about, people logging in after the fact and seeing those webinars as well. So I'm quite excited about all the different topics that we have lined up already for the next 2 months.
Yeah, I think that's great, because universities or your management book wouldn't be able to help you with those questions. And, you really need that, that's quick tips that really get you going. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because a lot of things that you study in books is theoretical. So that's why we try to bring on experts. And then sometimes we've also just gotten industry professionals where they can share real tips about what's working for them in their careers. And so hopefully that allows other women to take some of those tips and then tweak them and then apply in their own careers.
Absolutely. Yeah. What would be your advice to job seekers, especially women in Canada?
I think the advice for job seekers in Canada is probably no different from anywhere else. Is apply if you think you meet 60% of the requirements. Like don't wait until you feel you meet 100% of the requirements to raise your hand. Apply if you think you meet 60% of the requirement. And then really, like, don't hesitate from talking about your accomplishments. Like as women, sometimes we hesitate. Oh, but I don't think I did very well in this role. I don't think I made any significant impact. No, that's not true. Like really make a list of like real hard, tangible results that you got for your company. If you can quantify them, even better, right? Write those stories and don't be shy about bragging about your accomplishments in the resume, in the cover letter, in the interviews that you do.
Yeah, I've read an article where it said that men will apply for jobs even if that's like a 50% match, but women will wait for 95%. They are a little hesitant to apply for jobs that, unless they feel that it's a real match for them.
Yep, and the other thing I would say is like connect with the recruiter. If you can find the name of the hiring manager, the recruiter, connect with them on LinkedIn, and then tell them that you are really interested in this position. You are very excited to apply and you would love to connect with them for 10 minutes to learn a little bit more about how you can solidify your application so that you can really shine in the application process. And many recruiters will say yes to meeting with you. At worst, they will not reply. That's not the end of the world. And at best, they will reply and then they will give you some insight tips on how you can make your application better. And then connect not only with recruiters, but connect with other people who work for that company that you're trying to apply for and get some insights on the company culture and how you can, the words that you can use to make your application stronger. Because every company has a different culture and you have to speak their language to really get through, right? So do that hard work of connecting with people, and people love to talk about their roles and what they're doing and how great the company is. Absolutely do that.
Yeah. I always tell my clients to genuinely go and speak with people. You need that job that's on back of your mind, but you talk to somebody, you're showing genuine interest in them and what they do and about the company, there are better chances that, you're slowly building that rapport.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Good advice. So you have a lot of leadership experience, and I've seen a lot of well-qualified, somebody that has experience, but finding it really hard to get into a leadership role. What do you think the problem is?
I think it's sometimes become a chicken and egg problem, where your management is looking for some leadership experience to promote you into a leadership role. But if you don't have that, then what, right? So I think of leadership as not managing people. Leadership is taking accountability of what you're doing. That is what leadership is. Like to be saying that you are a leader, you don't have to have managed people. You just have to, take accountability of something, take accountability of a project and deliver your best and show how that has presented results for your company. Like how the accountability that you've taken, the work that you've done has produced results for your team, right? For your manager, for your company. And so that is a tangible way of gaining leadership experience. So that's one. I would say raise your hands for high visibility projects. Even if you're not in a leadership role, I would say in quotes, like where you're managing people, you can always raise your hand to volunteer in a different project, to volunteer in a different scope of work in a different department. Like, if your manager is okay with it, ask for it that, hey, I would really, I'm doing accounting right now, but I am really investing in what the marketing is doing, what this marketing and sales and commercial role is doing. And is it possible for me to take part in this little project, right? Like ask. Again, the worst that would happen is that your manager would say, no, I think it's completely different. And this is why you cannot do it. At best, what will happen is they'll say, yeah, sure. And maybe they will put you on some training that allows you to gain some skills where it becomes, where you become good at the volunteer role that you're taking up. So again, ask. So that is a great way to gain some leadership experience as well. Those are the two things that I would say. Right?
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I totally agree with whatever you just said. I would also like to know about the Incubator leadership program that you are about to launch next month. What is it about, and what is the scope?
Yep. So Incubator leadership development program is actually very, very close to my heart. This is the first kind of tangible thing that we started in Pinkcareers after the blog. The Incubator Leadership Development Program is a 6 months leadership accelerator for early career women who really want to take charge of their careers. Like, they're ambitious women who want to grow in their careers. And so what the program does, it allows you to understand what your authentic leadership style is, what your leadership brand is, and how do you present that at work. How do you start leading and nurturing strong teams, especially if you have senior technical folks on your team. Like, how do you manage them, and how do you build trust and motivation in the team? And then finally, the most important piece that I think of is how do you start communicating assertively and confidently, and start building those relationships of mentors and sponsors that you can later leverage to grow in your career. So that's kind of what the Incubator Leadership Development Program teaches you. Once a quarter, we do an open enrollment program. So our next cohort starts in mid-August, and we meet virtually remote. All the classes are held virtually over Zoom, and recordings are available to you. And we meet in a small cohort, so that allows enough time and enough space, safe space, for you to come together, learn all of these topics that we're talking about. We just kind of touched upon, around confidence, self-advocacy, negotiation, motivation, trust, sponsorship, and personal leadership. And then practice that in real life and learn from each other. That's kind of what we do. And then anybody who wants to learn more about it can go to pinkcareers.com /course/incubator, and then check it out. And they can always reach out to me if they have questions. Yeah, if they want to talk to me, they can always reach out to me.
Yeah. So apart from Pink Careers, how would they reach out to you? I'm going to put all these links of, your website and your LinkedIn page, everything on the description. But, what is your preferred method of contact?
Yeah, I think the best way they can reach out to me is through email at richa@pinkcareers.com.
Yeah.
richa@pinkcareers.com. Yeah, but I'm also on LinkedIn, so they can reach out to me on LinkedIn. You have my IG handle, so all of those are great ways to reach out. But if you are thinking about, working with me either through Incubator or, just looking through Pink Careers website and you find anything of interest, or you want to just connect with me for a coffee chat. I love virtual coffee chats. That's something that pandemic has allowed us to do. If you just want to have a virtual coffee chat, I would love to connect with you. Just drop me a note at richa@pinkcareers.com, and then we'll take it from there.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Richa, for doing this for us. I'm pretty sure there were a lot of points and, a lot of insights that everyone could take from whatever we just did. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jaya, for inviting me. You're doing such a great job for your community.
Thank you. If you find this video useful, please hit a thumbs up, share and comment on this video. Also, do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.